Hello, my name is Kirioth, and today we're going to talk a little bit about the Imperial Guard, because a load of stuff has disappeared from the store. It is now listed as no longer available, and to cut down on listing everything that is gone, essentially think to yourself, what is all of the cool shit that you could get with regards to Imperial Guard? The regiments, that's all the cool shit, and essentially all the cool shit is now out of stock. It is gone, it is no longer available, it is sold out, and there's not really been that much in the way of warning. There's not really anything that anyone's heard, I believe, about them coming back. It sort of looks like the end of the line for this stuff. But, for once, I'm not going to bitch and moan and complain, because I actually think it's kind of unlikely that this stuff is gone for good. This was all stuff that was like metal and way ancient, really old. And before you kind of sit there and assume the worst, and before you kind of go, it's gone forever, there's no possible way that Games Workshop will ever renew this. I mean, are Imperial Guard even popular enough to have plastic regiments? You know, are they ever going to update the kits? There's a couple of things I think that needs to be considered. It could simply be that the moulds are being replaced with resin moulds, so rather than having garbage plastic, you are in fact getting resin models, which arguably it's still kind of garbage because Finecast is awful, at least in my experience anyway. But that wouldn't mean they're going away. There is also, I think, a big thing that a lot of people are overlooking, because, I mean, this sort of appeared, I think it was yesterday, day before, and a lot of the stuff that I've seen with people talking about it and reacting to it is a kind of a mix of outrage and disbelief, where it's like, how can this stuff be gone? It's been available for ages. Games Workshop surely aren't going to bring it back because it's old, and is it even worth it? I think there is a significant difference, unfortunately, between things that are, you know, sold out and no longer available from some factions, and things being sold out and unavailable from other factions. The fact is that, generally speaking, the Imperial stuff doesn't tend to get hit that hard with things like this. That is the reality of it. When it comes to Imperium as a whole, generally speaking, it's maybe not that big a deal that this stuff has temporarily gone, because if any faction is going to get a rerun of this stuff, if any faction is going to get updated molds or updated materials in the form of resin or plastic, it's going to be an Imperium faction. If you think about how much attention the Imperium has had as a whole since the launch of 8th edition, I mean, we've had, whether you like them or not, they still exist. We've had the Primaris stuff, we've had the Adeptus Custodes, we've had the Imperial Knights, there's been the addition of at least Primaris to Deathwatch as well. There's also been all the stuff about the Sisters of Battle making a return. The Imperium is actually not a bad place to be if stuff is about to start disappearing from the store, because there's a good chance that it might be updated or replaced anyway. And I guess that's kind of the takeaway that I'm getting from this. It is easy to sit there and just assume that this stuff is therefore gone, that there is absolutely no way that, you know, it's going to come back. After all, how can it have the popularity? That being said, Sisters of Battle, due to the way that Games Workshop have handled them, I would argue are not actually popular. In terms of sales, at the very least, they're not actually going to be that popular, let's be honest. It's all metal, it's all old. It is not good value for money in any sense of the word at all at the moment. And yet, it may be many years late, they are getting a significant update, a huge update. Their entire line should be being replaced. Things like the Vostroyans, the Mordunine Guard, Steel Legion, all of that stuff, that going away, that becoming, you know, not available, completely sold out. It is bad if you were looking to collect those. It is bad if you started collecting those. But to be honest, in the long run, I'm looking at it and I'm not really feeling that they are going to be disappearing entirely. Some of them, maybe, but especially things like the Steel Legion, there is a vast amount of potential, for instance, for new kits for Imperial Guard a bit further down the line along with the Orc Codex. I mean, Armageddon is a massive focal point for both Orcs and Imperial Guard. it's not beyond the realm of possibility that there could be some sort of tie-in release to that for Imperial Guard. There's also the fact that the Imperial Guard kits as a whole are they're getting on a bit at this stage. I mean, even the Cadian kits are a little bit older, a little bit, not worse for wear, but they look okay. I don't think they're quite up to the standard that we are getting from the newer releases. If any faction, if any army is going to get a significant update, it's going to be an Imperium army. That is the simple fact of it. That is just how this shit works. You know this by now, so do I. And the Imperial Guard are an Imperium army. And there are multiple points at which they could receive an update because they're absolutely everywhere. There could be something to do with Armageddon. The fact that Cadia is, well, trashed. There could easily be something done to make an event of releasing new kits for that as well. It's kind of sucky. It is bad. If it disappears entirely, this stuff, if it all vanishes, then yeah, that's garbage. And I would be genuinely sad to see that happen because Imperial Guard are such a varied force in the lore. Them having so little for the tabletop, just having Cadian and nothing else, that would be a genuine, massive disappointment. After all, this is an army that spans the entire breadth of the Imperium. There has to be thousands upon thousands upon thousands of unique regiments out there. Obviously, we don't get to see all of them, because that would be damn near impossible to write something about all of them, but they need that extra representation on the tabletop at the very least. Even if you don't have every single regiment out there available as models, you should at least get a variety of a few, I think. And with this stuff going, it either means that they're just gone for good, or the more optimistic kind of way of looking at it, which is the way that I'm kind of being drawn towards at the moment, is that they're not gone forever. I just feel like there has to be something else there, whether it's another release, whether it is the updating of molds, whether it is a new material that they're going to be manufactured in. Ditching all of that for Imperial Guard, I think, would just be halfway between completely tone deaf to what a lot of the customer base and fan base is asking for, and just not great in terms of giving that army the flavour it deserves. With any luck, it won't be sold out forever. With any luck, it will actually turn out that this is just a big update, that there's maybe some repackaging going on, that maybe some of this stuff is actually being brought to plastic. Maybe not all of it. I can see some of it disappearing forever. I'll be honest, I would not be surprised if the Mordian stuff never comes back. The Vostroyan stuff I would hope would come back, but I'm not entirely sure whether it would. Still, Legion, I just can't see it going away permanently. So, yeah, I guess in this case, I'm not annoyed, so to speak. I'm not kind of pissed off that it's disappearing. I'm more just kind of finding myself hoping that it's not permanent, and hoping that actually we're going to see this stuff again, and it's going to be updated, and it's going to be in a material that isn't shit. That's the hope for now. Anyway, between this and all the Forge World stuff, I don't know. I'm starting to get a little bit annoyed with seeing the sold out thing all over stuff. What do you reckon's happened to this stuff? Is it coming back? Are we going to see, decent variety of Imperial Guard stuff in the future? Is it just going to be Cadians forever? Do you think that maybe they are just updating the molds, that we are just going to see them maybe in plastic? Maybe? Be interested to hear what you think. Let me know in the comments below, and I will see you for the next video, which will be later today.